Joining us is Congresswoman Debbie Lesko. I miss you. I tell you, used to be my Congresswoman until all this switching around going on, but still love to have you on the program. You took on Randy Weingarten yesterday. Randy Weingarten, the head of the second largest teachers union in the galaxy, and she had some splaining to do, but seemed to be kind of feeling like, hey, I wanted schools open. Why are you guys so mad? What vibe did you get from her? How did you take it to her?
Well, thank you for having me on. You know, one of the questions I asked her is, do you have the direct personal number for the CDC director, Walensky? And she hemmed and hawed a little bit, but then admitted, yes, she did. And I said, well, I hope that I get it, since I'm a congresswoman and I'm on two committees that have jurisdiction over the CDC. But the reason I asked that is because it seems like the CDC, when they set the guidelines to close schools, that they relied more on input from the teachers union than they did on science. And that's what's troubling.
Absolutely, it's troubling because it's not based on the science. It's based on the teachers unions who have access to Democrats because of all the funding, Congresswoman Debbie Lesko. How do you combat that as the Republican Party? Because this very much, to me, I decided weirdly, Congresswoman, to read 1984. This seems very Orwellian in how they're trying to change what they did during the pandemic before our very eyes.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm thankful for you and for other media that tells the truth, because we can't let them revise history. As you know, the CDC even gave, well, first of all, they called up the teachers union and said, hey, you know, what do you think? We're going to implement some guidelines for school closings, openings, and even some of the exact verbatim language that the teachers union provided to the CDC included in the guidelines. Now, it's okay to talk to stakeholders. They said that they talked to 51 different stakeholders. The thing is, it seems like they really took the input of the union. And it's not surprising, because the teachers unions spend millions and millions of dollars on campaign donations to Democrats in the Biden administration. So, I mean, it's not surprising to me. It's just wrong, because even the CDC itself had a study in 2020 that said that children were at low risk of serious illness from COVID-19. And there were other studies out there that said that children had a low transmission rate of COVID-19 to adults. And that's what the teachers were worried about, that they were going to get sick from the kids. But actually, the science did not show that. And so we need to just keep talking and telling people about the origins of COVID-19, that it's more likely than not that it came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which unfortunately was partially funded, the research, by U.S. taxpayer dollars, and that there wasn't enough oversight of it. But we also need to determine what we did right and what we did wrong. And one of the things we did wrong was closing the schools, because it really put our kids behind.
It definitely did. Congresswoman Debbie Lesko answering questions as if we pre-submitted these questions. Maybe they're on a card with our picture on it. I don't know. Congresswoman, this is a big day, because you passed in the House of Representatives basically the Republican plan to raise the debt ceiling, but with caveats, with actually some good stuff in there from We the People. Now the ball's basically in Chuck Schumer's court and President Biden's. What kind of odds do you get it to go through?
Well, you know, I don't know, but we had to do it, right? Because right now we have $31 trillion, over $31 trillion in national debt. And there are projections that our yearly interest payments on that national debt are going to exceed what we spend in a year on the entire Department of Defense. Well, obviously, that's a huge national security risk because if we keep paying out interest payments, it's going to take up all of our money and we won't be able to even defend our own country and help our military and pay for our military. So we have to do something. We can't just keep it on autopilot and allow, the Biden administration and the Democrats to keep spending money recklessly. And so we said in order to extend the debt ceiling, we're going to reduce government spending by $4 trillion over 10 years.
It's a beautiful sounding number, Congresswoman Debbie Lesko. Is this a reality test for America? Because no doubt we have some challenges ahead, but we're America. We always find innovative solutions. But the longer we wait to solve these problems, the harder they become to solve. So do you think America, we the people, Congresswoman, are up for this reality test?
Well, we need to be because otherwise reality is going to hit us in the face and our country is going to be in a major problem. So I think, I was elected and other members of Congress were elected to be responsible. And I think the Republicans have been the adults in this conversation saying, listen, we're going to reset discretionary spending back to fiscal year 2022 levels. That's only 4 months ago levels. And then limit the increase in discretionary spending by 1%. We're going to reclaim the unspent COVID funds that are out there. We're going to defund Biden's IRS 87,000 agents that would go after, everyday people. We're going to repeal a lot of these Green New Deal tax credits for electric vehicles and things like that. And we're going to prohibit Biden's student loan giveaway to the wealthy. And we're also going to require people work at least 20 hours a week if they want to get SNAP, which is food stamps, or TANF, which is money, temporary assistance for needy families, or Medicaid. And this is just for able-bodied adults. And so I think that's very reasonable. I think what Republicans are proposing is a reasonable solution to say, okay, we owe this debt, so we're going to raise the debt ceiling so that we don't go, have our country go down the tubes. But we also believe we need to rein in the spending, which is totally out of control. And so, we passed it. I'm glad we did. And now it's up to the Democrats and Biden to be responsible as well and negotiate and come to the negotiating table.
Congresswoman Debbie Lesko, we appreciate you. We appreciate your vote. We appreciate your talent and your mind, especially taking it to Randy Weingarten because she's been triggering at least me. I can't speak on Rob's behalf for about 2 years now. So thank you so much and keep coming back and telling us and keeping us posted on what's going on.